The body modifications to change this from a 57 Chrysler 300C to a custom Chrysler New Yorker wagon were done without filler or glue. Doug White here. If you were a kid in the 60s, you probably had an Auto World auto cutter. Like many, I was disappointed when I tried to cut plastic with it and it didn't work out as advertised. What I did find was, as the hot blade passed through, the molten plastic would fill in behind it and the gap would close. Although it didn't work well for cutting plastic apart, it did work great for welding plastic together. I no longer have my auto cutter, but I have found that a wood burning tool works very well for me. To demonstrate this technique, I'm going to do the classic panel swap to make this into an ultra wheelbase car where we move the rear wheel well forward. So on this side, we're right out of the box. On this side, I already have the panels cut out. We're going to slide the wheelbase from stock position, move it forward. First thing I want to do is line up the exterior, the outside of the panel, so to keep everybody parallel in there. I'm going to use a little bit of tape. We're going to start just like welding metal. We're going to put like a little tack weld in, but we're going to go from the back. So I've got my vintage wood burning tool. It's up to 97 degrees. It's not super hot, but apparently that's hot enough to melt plastic. First thing we're going to do is go in and just do some tack welds along the seam. The way I do them is to kind of go in and walk it left and right. Just bring little laps of plastic across where that joint is. So I got 3 of them there. I'm going to lay that down and I'm just going to double check, make sure that that's lining up. You know, the tape is going to help line it up. Electrical tape would probably work really well. Main thing is don't get a lot of heat into the body or it's going to warp. So I've got 3 tack welds in there now. You can see they're like 3 little craters. So I have the top end of the panel is locked in. I know the bottom end of the panel I want to get down by the sill and lock that in so it doesn't wag out of shape. Just going to hold that with my finger. I'm just going to push a little bit back and forth. Now I'm going to get the secondary panel that goes in the back. The beauty of this is you're doing it, it cools off. You can just keep moving. You're never stopping and waiting for glue or putty to dry, or blow kicker in on top of your super glue. You can just keep working. This panel on this Belvedere, as this sweeps up, I have to shorten this part to fit in. So what I'm going to do is, because of the roll, I'm going to line up the bottom about as well as it goes. It's flat here, a little angled here, but we'll fix that with a file. I'm going to mark this with a pencil, and I'm going to trim it off. I'm feeling brave. I'm going to use my sprue cutter. Clip that off. That's pretty good. I have a little bit that extends down, but that's going to give me just enough that I can file off any excess. Better to have more than less. So I'm going to go back to my tape. I'm going to fill this in. Start with the panel, the top end. Get it nice and even so all the panels line up. Start at the top edge. Just drag some of that across the little crevice, the valley right there. It's done. I can peel the tape. And that's locked in. Now I'm going to tack in the bottom. Get that around here. Just give it a little push. Right. So everything's in position. That's just smooth all the way across. The only thing I feel is a little crevice, a little joint in there. So now it's time to lock everything in and fill it. And fill it completely so it's all one material. If you have super glue in there and then whatever filler you're using, and then you go and you lay your primer and paint on, and then you end up with a ghost of whatever's back there. The filler material, you've got the kit, hang on to the sprue, because you can almost use that like stick welding. If you got a crevice in there, you can fill it in with a little bit of this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lock everything in. I'm going to start from the back, because that's where you can be sloppy. I would practice on sewing before you do this, but this way you get used to the practice. All plastic is a cocktail of different chemicals, and they're all going to be a little different in the way they react. It all seems to just be happy to have a hot knife put on it and filled in. This plastic's probably 15 years old on this Lindbergh kit. All right, so I've worked the back in, I'm going to double check it to make sure everything still lines up and is smooth. And this is really strong. Even now, I haven't even approached the face side of this. Just like with welding, you don't want to overheat an area. You just want to work it down, fill in the bead. So I'm just going to go in, I'm going to take the tip, and I'll walk it back and forth. The idea is to get rid of any air gaps, just fill it in. I'm going to walk this down like this. I'm just going to move to a spot so I don't overheat an area. Just a little back and forth, kind of just sweep the molten stuff into the crack. You know, like a non-consuming weld, it would be nice if I could just be done, sand it smooth, but you end up with a little valley anyway. So check this out. I can go over it with a file. I'm just going to go in and just work these guys down. I'm going to take the high points off just to see just how much fill I have to do in there. Pretty smooth. So now what I'm going to do is I want to go in and fill that. So to do that, I'm going to take some sprue. Just going to cut some bits off, small ones, because you know it's like working with Bondo. You don't want to put too much in there and then just have to take it off. So to pick these up, this is hot. I can just go in with the side. I can pick up a little bit. As that heats up, I can go work the joint and get that warmed up. Then I can drop that molten piece right in there. Then I can take the flat side and just mush it down. And that's the point where you're probably going to get more heat into the body and risk warping it or damaging it. Gonna work that down. You should work in a well ventilated area, you know, like outside. Lay that there. Work a little bit down there and get that in the crevice. Just don't want to lose the alignment that's so nice right now, because those panels line up, and now when I sand them I can get them smooth and it's quick. So now I'm at a point where I can smooth those guys out. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to file it down. We have this line that runs above where our work area is. We also have the little flare on the wheel opening, and I don't want to damage those. So in order to keep my abrasive off of that, I put some tape there for protection. I'm going to do the same right around that opening. If I start to get into that, I'm going to know because I'm damaging the tape, and I can always put a piece of fresh tape on that. And of course with the tip, I got it as level as I could, but there's always going to be a little excess. Get those high points down so it all blends in. Still keep the character of the roll of the body panel. Keeping an eye on the tape, I haven't gone through the tape. Now, I still have this that I'm going to clean up. You know, there's a little glob hanging down there. And we know that this came from the horizontal sill, and it's got to be angled up. So the idea and kind of the Zen thing in here is don't lead into that temptation of using Bondo or any other filler. You want it to just all be plastic. We have that worked down pretty smooth. It's looking good. A couple globs here and there. But there is a little valley right there. It needs to be filled. Oh, watch out, camera person. Stuck on there. I'm going to take that little valley. I'm going to heat it up. Little bits dropped in there. I'm going to work it right in. I'm going to take the flat part. I'll level it down. And the thing is, it's ready to be sanded. Not that hot. So nervous about losing that panel line. That little ridge on there is so nice and crisp. That blend going flat. Watching the reflection on this. Watching my tape. I haven't cut through the blue tape in any place, so I know my protection's working out really well. Got that down. I have a little bit on the sill. Just going to take that out. As this stuff gets hot, apparently it gets discolored. You can see the joints in there. All right, just a little fine tuning. These Revlon things work really well. With glue and stuff, no matter what kind of glue you're using or putty, how many times have you been like at this point and all of a sudden, you know, something cracks? This is so super strong. This is nice and square. There's no warp on this. It's just real clean. And best of all, when you go and lay in your finish, primer, and then paint, you're not going to have that ghost. There you go. Nice. Ready for primer. I used this method when I built this custom. I started with the AMT Chrysler 300 kit. I wanted to make it into a New Yorker. I changed the grille, a wagon, I vac formed a roof, but I used the hot knife technique to take all the body panels. Everything got changed. I lengthened it, I sectioned it, I added a scoop, changed the wheel well openings. The hot knife allowed me to move quickly to fill in the plastic areas and join them quickly, especially to get both sides to match. I could work in pretty quick succession. This car has lacquer paint. This is Sally Hansen nail polish. I wanted to make sure I would have no ghosting at all. And the finish came out great. In 1988, when I built this NASCAR stock car, I started with a street version, and I knew I needed to flare the fenders. Stock Daytona, side of the wheel opening in the front just goes straight down. For the race car version, I needed to flare them out just a bit. To do that, I used the hot knife. I massaged the inside of the wheel opening where I wanted that flare to be. I then used my thumb to push it out. It was soft enough I could move it but still touch it. You could also use a spoon if it seems too hot. The metal in the spoon will absorb the heat quickly though, unlike your thumb. This is not my own technique. This has been written up in magazines over the years. And in 2003, Bob Paith did a great seminar at GSL. He talked about using soldering tips, wood burning tools, and just how quick you can do all your body work and not have to wait around for your glue to dry and your filler and everything else to cure. It's not practical for gluing parts together, but it's great for doing body modifications. Practice on some scrap first, experiment, get used to it. I think it's a pretty easy curve to learn, and the results will be a perfect finish. Thanks for helping us out by subscribing to the channel. Follow your muse wherever you may find it, and may there always be a project on your bench. Thanks for watching.